much for your time today. So this visual actually is taken in this headline from an article that appeared in the Huffington Post in 2018. In Texas, we've been talking about our teacher shortage really since 2000, the turn of the century. But when you dig into the data, what you discover is that we don't have a shortage of people who are certified to teach. We have a shortage of people who actually want to remain in the classroom. So I grew up in a family of public school educators. My grandmother, my mom, my sister is currently a principal at a Title I elementary school in Arlington ISD, and I think one of the finest educators in the state of Texas, but of course I'm biased. And I attended public schools across Texas, Kentucky, and Michigan. And throughout that experience, I met amazing teachers who instilled in me the greatest gift I have, which is a love of learning. And even as an adult, I still love to learn. So the research is pretty clear. In a world where we're preparing children for jobs and careers that don't actually exist today, we need to attract the best and brightest into our classrooms. Nothing impacts student achievement more than quality teaching. The good news is that business leaders and lawmakers have recently started to pay more attention to the importance of effective teacher preparation, as well as appropriate compensation and support. And we saw some encouraging moves during the last session. But according to recent polls, teaching is perceived by students, by parents, and even some educators as thankless work that is not valued in the labor market. In fact, fewer college graduates than ever before in our history are actually considering teaching as a profession. On your handout, you have some data from a recent McKinsey poll, which shows that only 4% of today's high school graduates are considering studying education in college. The question is why? So when I ask you, why do you think people do not select teaching, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Money.
Pay. That's normally where we all go. However, in recent focus groups that we conducted with parents and students across the state of Texas, there's another, more important driver. When asked why they would never consider teaching as a profession, most of the students we talked to listed lack of respect and appreciation as the biggest driver. Sort of amazing to hear high school kids talk about, I don't want to deal with kids today. Super fascinating. So the bottom line is that teaching deserves more respect in Texas, but also across the country. No career is more important to the futures of our economy, our state, and our communities. After all of the other professions are dependent upon the quality of the workforce we attract into teaching. As I experienced firsthand in my own family, it's a job that requires compassion, creativity, and commitment. Those who can teach, not the reverse. We have to move from a society where teachers say, I'm just a teacher, to where teachers say, I am a teacher. So our goal is to create a year-long celebration that touches literally every community in our great state, with stories of real teachers who are making a difference in the lives of children. We all have them, that one teacher, get them in your mind right now, who had the greatest impact on you. Someone who taught you to believe in yourself when maybe you didn't, and who pushed you to achieve more than you ever thought was possible. I had many of them, but the one that always comes to mind is Mr. Wilson. He taught humanities and creative writing at King High School in Corpus Christi, Texas, and he was pretty out there. He had us watch the life and times of Harvey Milk in a public high school in Texas, pretty controversial. He encouraged us to do cultural projects every 6 weeks, and we went out into the community to hear choral music and attend theater, and then we wrote about it. And it really pushed us to change the way that we, as high schoolers, actually looked at the world. Our legislators took an important step during this session that just ended in addressing teacher pay. So let's build on that momentum. And let's all galvanize around showing our teachers how grateful we are for their service to our future. So through the Texas Year of the Teacher campaign, we aim to reframe the conversation in a more positive direction for aspiring professionals, parents, and civic leaders. We want to elevate teaching to the revered profession that it is in other nations around the globe, like Finland and Singapore, where teachers are seen as nation builders, and begin a culture shift from the inside out by expressing the appreciation we have for teachers and the value we place on our public schools. So what are we asking of you? We're asking you to become a lead partner. And what does this mean? It means that you agree to use your brand and your leverage to help amplify the message. We're not asking for a financial commitment, but to put your weight behind the effort. So internally, that could take the form of encouraging your executives and your employees to actually go back and find that teacher personally who made the big difference in their lives and to thank them, to capture those stories and share them broadly on social media. It could mean honoring those within your ranks who have friends, family members who are teachers, or maybe even those who have taught themselves. Externally, it means using your print advertising, your website to share the message of thanking teachers, tagging your television spots throughout the year, offering discounts on relevant products, and that could be for the whole year, or it could be during a specific time frame, such as National Teacher Appreciation Week in May. To include recognition for teachers into community and marketing events that you're already sponsoring. So for example, in our conversation with HEB, they're talking about how they can bring the campaign to life through their partnership with the Spurs. Leverage physical brick and mortar locations by creating banners and or special announcements on key dates and times. So for example, we're talking to Whataburger about doing Whata Teach pop-up events at their restaurants all over the state. At Southwest Airlines, we're talking about maybe letting teachers board early on a certain day and recognizing them over the PA, similar to the way we do our military troops. Help us to identify famous Texans who you have a relationship with. That could be celebrities, it could be sports figures, it could be civic and business leaders. And help encourage them to join in the Thank Your Favorite Teacher effort by going out into that classroom, because imagine the happiness and joy on that teacher's face when J.J. Watt shows up to say, hey, thanks, you're the person who encouraged me to be who I am today. You could develop a key product or a promotional item. It could be a Fiesta medal, a t-shirt, a pen, whatever it might be that you give away. At HEB, they're talking about creating a favorite flavor of ice cream dedicated just to teachers. Share the video stories and key digital content that we are producing on your social assets. Engage in our statewide steering committee. So we're putting together leaders from all of the big metropolitan areas, but also all of the other communities across Texas to actually help shape the campaign. And you could help sponsor events in your local community. And even if none of these ideas that I've talked about today are the perfect fit for you, we invite you to come up with your own creative idea and way to engage in the campaign and then share it with us. In exchange for being a lead partner, your logo will be included on our campaign website and on all of our print materials that are produced throughout the year. If you'd like to sponsor a portion of our media buy, either throughout the year or at a specific time, or a spot that we create that you really, really like, of course, that's also an option for you. So our hope is that the state's most iconic brands, including yours, will consider taking part in this critical endeavor. Our teachers and our students need to know that we care and that we're here to support our public schools. Now more than ever, as we strive once again to prepare our kids for jobs that have not even yet been envisioned, teaching is less about the imparting of knowledge and more about the lighting of a flame of curiosity. So Charles Butt, my boss, his mom was a teacher, which is why he got so interested in this field early on in his career. And a few years ago, he found a book that his mom had given him, and inscribed inside it was a note she wrote to him that said, "Dear Charles, if you think business is hard, you should try being a teacher." And similarly, I will leave you today, as you consider our request, with the words of another iconic business leader, Lee Iacocca, who said, "In a completely rational society, the best of us would be teachers, and the rest of us would settle for less." Thank you so much for your time.